Let's
Welcome,
do it again.
my boys. I love seeing all the boys on the screen today.
Yeah, I mean,
four people, two bald, two with hair. You know,
to think
three in
that
the same
the
house.
huddle originally started with just you talking to people for 10 minutes, no interaction, just you blasting people for 10 minutes.
Pretty,
to now it's
pretty impressive,
everybody on
though.
the screen and it's a conversation and there's interaction and it's a whole different ball game.
Obviously we get feedback every day, and it's so great, when new people join, and yesterday was no different. Richard,
I'm going to flip the script a little bit. Normally you guys are the one asking this, but Dad, tell me something good.
Wow.
So that's a great question. Thank you. So I took my own medicine, and I used yesterday as like a catch-up day. I organized all of my files, all the things, my DMO organized it, my top 25 organized it, my reach out organized it. I sent out 17 videos yesterday, and the responses back were amazing. Oh, cool, boom, boom. I'm still on the radar was what somebody said. So, it's one of those days where you throw all of it out, you clean it up, and you get the recognition back. So that is something really, really good.
And I think it's interesting though, because you start to see how different using your brain kind of affects you, using it in different ways, because you were exhausted in a much different way than you're normally exhausted if you did 15 calls and 15 coaching calls. It's a different part of using your brain. So really kind of programming your week to be efficient, know when you should do that stuff and when's the best to do that stuff.
I think that's the thing I miss the most about football, is that every day was split between like mental,
right,
like dialed in focus to getting the numbers and getting the tendencies and building the game plan, to then being out on the field and physically exerting yourself as you were coaching and in it and doing it. And then that started over every day. It's not that way in the business world. Some days you got days that are more physically intensive. Some days you have days that are more mentally intensive. And there's no real cycle that you can kind of follow. You can try to create it as much as you can within your schedule.
I think that's the trick. Yesterday I created it. I said, it's the end of the month. I am doing what I've done for 40 years at the end of the month. It's, really organizational. And it's fun because Jake watched it happen and what I was doing. And I was like a machine, click, 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 ding, 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 virtual coffees, to go crazy. So March will be great. I'm so excited that our friend Shay already put it up. Corey Disson is here. If you guys don't know Corey Disson, first of all, he would make a great huddler in the hot seat.
Corey. That is another person that needs to go on the docket.
I am wearing the shirt that he sent me. He works with people in the voiceover business, but he's just an all-around great dude, also bald. And congratulations to you and your son, because your son is knocking the cover off the ball.
You talked about one of your like all-time top 5 virtual coffees. Corey Disson is in the top 5 virtual coffees for me. When I met Corey, we had an unbelievable conversation, learning his story. We had a ton of parallels in where he had his career and where he was and where he moved to, where his son was playing baseball. So just a great dude. So if those of you who are in the huddle do not know Corey, highly suggest you guys reach out, get to know his story, and spend some time.
It just dawned on me that Matt DiGregorio is a huge Phillies fan, and Corey's son is in the Phillies organization. So we got to make that happen. But to your point, Mark, way back to that original virtual coffee that I had, he reached out. I said yes. Boom, we got together. And it was like one of those amazing things that you met someone cool, very similar to Richard. It's just you meet the right people, the right things happen. So awesome stuff.
And next weekend is Jim, I hope.
Next Friday.
He has a lot to say, and I am excited for him to be in this season.
And here's the best part. You guys will be doing that show because I will be in LA.
I love it.
Did you get that approved? Or
I didn't see that come across my desk for approval. I don't know.
I will clear it. I promise. I will get
Let's wake up. Let's wake up.
Sign.
We got a great show about books and about celebrations and all kinds of good stuff. So let's wake up, and then we will continue on with content.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more about to thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on.
All right. So I'm wearing the shirt proudly. Go get it. Go get it.
Oh, so I'm leading the show, or Jake's leading the show. Who's decided? I mean, you were in the runner's seat there.
Well, Jake was running it. He was reverse engineering today.
I didn't. Sure, great. I can run it. I can take it over.
Run it, baby. Run it.
Today is World Compliment Day, and so we're going to talk a little bit about the best ways to compliment your coworkers, what that does for their psyche. Mark, were there a lot of compliments in the football world?
No, God, no. But so this is like, to me, what I learned about leadership and what I tell people all the time is like, people get enamored by like, oh, you worked with Bobby Bowden or you worked with Tommy Tuberville. And I was like, really what my career taught me in football was a lot of what not to do. A lot of what I help people embody and teach as what good leadership looks like, I had to figure out from watching what people were doing to say, that's not working, or that doesn't work, or here's something that should happen. So I think it goes to, what does a healthy coaching relationship look like? Because, National Celebration Day or Appreciation Day is great, but that's one component, and being able to compliment somebody and being able to show them appreciation is really important, but that's only one component to the coaching conversation.
So two conversations here. First of all, we have to go back and capture that moment of silence there was never a time on the huddle when none of us were talking.
No, everybody was waiting. It was like,
listen, I usually have to battle to get a word in when we're
like
on
a delay a game.
The three of us, and I was
false start. Right?
Right.
So, second thing is, I think the problem with compliments is there are far too many people who do them disingenuously.
Sure.
Like, oh, what a pretty dress.
Yeah.
What? They should come from a place of, genuineness.
I think there's a balance too. Like, you don't want to be the compliment guy or the yes man or the everyday is like
funny. That would be funny.
Like, yeah, every day is like you get a new compliment and you're like, there's no way you like everything about my life unless you would want to be me, right? And so the study goes on to say that, like, what is the right amount of compliments in a week? And one is the answer. Praise should be given once per week.
I love that. Like, to me, part of developing culture and part of helping shape behavior, which I'm excited to be with my Sistel leaders this week. And we spend a lot of time in our leadership trainings talking about shaping behavior, right? When you're trying to change culture, trying to get people to do the thing you want them to do, you can't ignore the compliment or the, encouragement or the celebration of what they did, even if it wasn't exactly the way you wanted it to get done. If you're trying to get somebody to do something that they've never done or that is outside of the scope of who they've been, and they make the effort to do it, a celebration has to happen immediately. And so understanding that just saying, hey, I see you, I recognize you, and I appreciate you, goes miles for people, and then coming in with the criticism and then the challenge.
So I'm isolating it as, as not, a compliment, not necessarily appreciation. For me, it's, I don't understand, why people have a problem here. Why do you even have to keep track? when it's right, just do it.
Yep.
Just like say, hey, I want to,
I'll tell you why people have a problem is because part of the way that we were raised. Like my generation is that last generation of do it because I told you so. And when you did what you were supposed to, it went unrecognized. Because what do you want? You want a present because you did what you were supposed to do? No, but it would feel good to be recognized. And coming up in that world of football, of being a graduate assistant, being a grunt, and having to earn your way in, it was just commonplace to shovel shit all day long, do it with a smile on your face. And if you didn't like that, then this wasn't a profession for you. And it doesn't have to be that way. Like I got it, I did it, I got through it, I got to the place where I was, but I always made it a point to spend time with the graduate assistants, to spend time with the equipment managers, to spend time with the trainers, because it always fed me better, because I was going to have to rely on them at some point anyway for help. And so I think people have a problem with it because it just doesn't come natural to them.
So, so it's interesting because this gets me thinking back, in the phone business, we had a lot of employees. I would just reach out, the whole virtual coffee. I would reach out to somebody and just say, hey, I want to grab a coffee with you. Recognition was more important than anything I can say.
I think that's a unique point. When you think compliment, everybody immediately goes to like, oh, you're great at this. Like this was fantastic. But this article really broke it down in 3 things, which actually kind of shifted my mindset. Was that it was appreciation, gratitude, and then also encouragement. And like, even a form of compliment is like, what can I do to help? Can I help in any way? Like acknowledging that you're there and acknowledging that you're willing to give yourself to someone is a form of compliments.
Yes.
So I love what Joshua David, says, join the military. You have no idea how many compliments you'll receive. Like that's the whole point. And so there are leaders that I've worked with inside of organizations that have come out of the military. And part of the thing that really knocks them with their coworkers is their communication ability, their ability to connect and relate to people, because they come out of a structure where they were told to do something and it was expected that you would do that. And there wasn't any recognition needed for that. And so you move from that structure where that's the norm and you do it or else, to an organization that's trying to foster a family relationship and have people that feel respected and loved, and diversity and inclusion and equity in all of those things. You have to understand the importance of recognition, celebration, appreciation in whatever form that it comes.
And I think
I want to keep this.
We can keep going. See, now, like, right, nobody wants to speak, and then I'm trying to get a word in, and then, no. But even as a leader, like taking ownership of somebody that was like my fault, like that was my bad, and I'm sorry, is a real form of compliment that you're in the bunker with me, that you're going to war. It's right. Exactly.
Well, spin it this way. Like yesterday was one of those days where I reached out to people I have not reached out to in a long time. Some who were clients who are no longer engaged at the particular moment, and just said, hey, tell me something good. That in and of itself makes people feel like, and I've said this before, if the only time you're talking to your clients is to ask for a new deal or to push a deal forward, that's not a good client relationship. So
we talk about the DMOs, and all of it is new outreach. A lot of it is new outreach. And I was like, if you have all these connections, right, and you connect with a guy and he lives in your world and you call him a space traveler, and he's near bound, I think is what people are calling it now. But making it a habit of picking 5 random people off your connection list and saying hello on a daily basis. Say, hey man, how you doing? How's your life? Like checking in, go to their page, do the exact same research you're doing for new outreach. Go look at what they're posting, what they're doing, and being like, hey, just checking in, saw you're doing this, so happy, just know that I'm watching.
I mean, I know Jonathan say, what did Jesse Itzler say, the 3 C's?
Compliment, congratulate, console.
Oh my God. I mean, if that doesn't fit on top of this as an absolute doozy, there's enough abundance. If you think about the world, there's enough for everybody. So, when someone else does something great, it doesn't take away from your ability to do great. So, complimenting them is like, hey man, you know what? Because guess what? It comes back, man.
There's Jonathan Aaron's. Like, I was going to bring this up. Like, from the Get on the Ball account, we, congratulated Jonathan Aaron's for being the baller of the month. His response to that was, number one, I didn't even know that was a thing. And wow, what a surprise to get this. It made him feel great. And then the response from other people who were liking it and congratulating him on it and understanding that all we did was recognize somebody for their work. We didn't create, something out of thin air. We just recognized Jonathan for what he was doing, the way he was committed to training the brain and implementing.
We purposely did that because we don't want you to do it because somebody's watching, right? It's what you're doing when nobody's watching. And that was always the best athletes. They didn't only show up when we had spring training. It was the ones that were working out by themselves the 2 months before it started, where we had no even idea what they were doing. We weren't even allowed to be around them. Those were the ones that were way more successful.
So we end every show by thanking everybody for spending their mornings with us. But here's a perfect one. John just says he's just want to say great post yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel heard. It got unbelievable recognition because I'm actually tired of the whole gamut of, people saying I don't have time. So I'm just putting stuff out there. I don't do it so that someone says, hey, great.
You put it out there because it's something that was relevant to the world you were in. It's what you were working on with your clients. It's something you wanted to share with the people around you. And that, to me, is the whole point, right?
If you and I were sitting having coffee, I would say, what the hell is it with everybody saying I don't have time? This is complete bullshit,
Sure.
Speaking of bullshit, there is the bullshit artist of our time, Mr. Merkin.
From Dubai. I don't even know what time it is there.
We are definitely
worldwide. But Mark, Joy Linsky asked you to explain console. So why don't you break down the 3 C's a little bit, and that will probably take us the rest of the show, and then we'll do the book tomorrow.
I don't want to miss morning motivational music.
Hey, come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I will. So
I don't want to miss morning motivational music. So let's do that, and then we'll come back and I'll talk about the 3 C's.
Perfect.
In this farewell, there's no blood, there's no alibi, 'cause I've drawn regret from the truth of 1,000 lies. So let mercy come and wash away what I've done. I'll face myself to cross out what I've become, erase myself and let go of what I've done. Put to rest what you thought of me while I clean this slate with the hands of uncertainty. So let mercy come and wash away what I've done. I'll face myself to cross out what I've become.
So I think from now on, they should be known as LinkedIn Park.
I love Linkin Park. Could not pass on that.
What the hell's going on out
Well done, Shay. That was a nice one.
Quick on the trigger.
Anetta is here this morning. Always want to shout out the family man. Congratulations on an unbelievable event, my friend, and looking forward to dining with you on Sunday evening.
So to answer Joy Linsky's question about the 3 C's and to dive a little bit into console, the 3 C's to me are just a systematic way to stay in touch with the people that you are connected to. How to reach out, like putting content out there every day to keep your face and your message and who you are in front of everybody is great. But going a step deeper to really feeding the relationship with everybody is how do you reach out to them? What do you connect on? What do you talk about? And Jesse broke it down into celebrate, congratulate, and console. And real time, there was somebody this past week that I reached out to that we've been in a dialogue about doing something together. And they shared with me a tragedy in their life, something tragic that happened to them. So that's my opportunity to console them, to step in and say, hey, I don't know how you're feeling about it, but I can relate to it. I have some perspective to share about it, or I don't, and I can just be an ear for you if you want to let it go. You want to talk about it, you want to get it out there. Doing that for people is what drives home that relationship. And so, like, whether you're in a business sense and you're dealing with team members, whether you're dealing with friends and people within your network, whether you're dealing with family members, recognizing that somebody is in a place where they might need to be. You don't know. You never know what people need until you ask them. But if they are in a place to be consoled, being able to lend them the ear, and if they want your perspective, then share your perspective. But that, I think, is the point of consulting.
How do you go about finding if they want your perspective? What's the best way to ask?
I've asked. Like I said this in my post.
If you want me, I'm here.
That to me is like, with where we are in sales in today's world and buying behavior, people want to be in control. People don't want to be pushed anywhere. People don't want to be led into anything. They want to feel like they're in control. So if you want to figure out what people want or what people need, just ask them. Ask them the question. I did it with this person that I'm talking about. I said, hey, let me know. Let me know if you want to talk about it. Let me know if you want an ear. If you don't, totally understand. The response back to me was greatly appreciated, and I will reach out to you within the next week. Awesome.
So we have somebody in the huddle who is going through something fairly tragic, shared it with us, through LinkedIn messaging. And I sent him a GIF of the guy with the gigantic ears. And I said, I'll always be, just trying to make it light and not, I hate when people say, I know what you're feeling. Right. No, you don't. You have no idea what I'm feeling, but if you want to help me, and this is where in coaching, it's called unpacking it. Let's unpack it. Let's, compartmentalize it, which was one of the attributes, if you have the ability to compartmentalize stuff, isolate the pain, but that's all in this conversation about how you treat people, and the way to start is like, how do you want to be treated?
Right.
Like somebody was full of shit with you. No.
It's my whole point. It's like the most mind-blowing thing that, like, I had a virtual coffee with somebody from the CCIM group yesterday that was at the presentation. And they were like, the thing you said to me that really had me thinking was, I don't answer my phone. Yet all of my business, I'm primarily relying on calling people and getting them to answer. He's like, what the hell am I doing? Right. I'm doing a tactic that doesn't work on me. Why the hell am I doing that?
Well, so we were at Ad Media, and the guy Jan, who works for Ad Media, goes, everyone's trying to sell me their process, but can't book a meeting with me using that process. Right. Why would I use it if you can't get me? And I was like, dude, that's a great way of putting that.
Exactly the point I'm trying to say. But, it's like, and this will be a teaser for tomorrow. Malcolm Gladwell, 24 years ago, identified certain kind of people. And the same way Nick Saban says that high performers don't get along with mediocre people, go give me overtime.
No.
And we'll go to overtime.
Reservation after the game,
You broke it up and said there are people who are innovators or early adopters. Sure. Their message will not be received by the masses. The late adopters aren't going to get it. They're going to push you away. And so it's actually interesting because I love that book. It was a book that I gave out to every client for years. Jake just read it. We'll go over it tomorrow. There's so many nuggets in there that were written pre-social media.
It needs a full show. It does. Because I was trying to figure out how to put everything into 10 minutes, and I was like, it's
But I would say so, and speaking to that, like where you were saying, like, somebody's trying to sell me their process and they can't get a meeting with me with their process. That's one of my favorite things to do in virtual coffees when people ask, like, so what's your guys' process? I'm like, it's the exact process that I got you to take this meeting with. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that was a process. And I'm like, yeah. That was very intentional about what I did to get you here.
You'll never be coming back.
Right.
Go get
I
it.
love
Go get it.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Wisdom
Have a good day.
Wednesday. Get up, get after it. Let's go.
Thursday, tipping point.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.